I would, how many customers, how many people have you worked with? Okay, so you've got thousands of people and you have all their contact information, you have all the ability to reach out to those people. Here's what I would do. And I give this, this is something that I suggest that people do not only before they come into the program, but this is a suggestion that I make on a regular basis. It's something that I've written in my book. It's something that I think is vital, and it's about client engagement. I would go into my database and I would ask myself, who are the ideal clients? Those people that referred a lot of people to me. They stuck with me a lot. They bought all of our services. They paid on time. They were awesome to work with. They got a lot of value out of my services, out of my product. Whatever the case, you want to identify what your ideal client persona is, what the factors are that are in that, and then go into your database and pull out those clients that you would define as ideal that you've already worked with. Okay, and then contact them. And the first question you ask them is very, very clear. It's hey, Eric, this is Steve Tuig from Robbins Research. Hey, we love you guys. Man, you sent me that online training. It was phenomenal. Okay, great. We have identified you as one of our ideal clients. Really? Well, geez, I hope so. As much impact? Yes. And what we'd like to do, Eric, is I'd like to make sure that we're serving you at the highest possible level. It's very, again, I want to make sure that we're serving at the highest possible level. This is not about marketing. This is not about sales. What this is about is it's about value add only. The business that's going to be successful in today's world is the business that can successfully anticipate the ever-shifting needs of their client and arrive in the future faster, more effective, and more efficient than their competition. Right? So I want to make sure that I'm serving you at the highest possible level. Okay, great. And then the first question you're going to ask, how did you hear about us? Direct mail piece, phone call, website. What was the pipe? What was the channel that your client kind of found you in? Right? Write that down because that's important. Right? You want to know where they're coming from. Then the second question you're going to ask is even more important, and that's, what were you hoping was going to be the impact? In other words, what was working with me, what was that going to do for you? What was the ultimate impact that it was going to provide for you? Right? And this is essential. This is where most companies, when you talked about understanding what your impact is, this is where you're going to find that. Right? Now, the key here is to not translate. Many times what I see happen is people say, the client told me this, but what they meant was this. No, what your client said was what your client meant. Like many times I find people say I'm having trouble marketing, and what I find out is they're in Russia speaking Japanese, and their ideal client is in Spain speaking German, and they can't figure out why nobody's buying from them. Right? We want to be where our client is, speaking the language that our client speaks, so that when they hear it, they can digest the information and make a sound decision on how that's going to impact them. Right? So don't translate. Right? So you go, okay, what was the impact? Well, it gave me the safety, it allowed me the ability to be comfortable, whatever that may be. Write that down, right? Because that's the business that they thought you were in. Right? It's important to know what the business they thought you were in when they reached out, right? And then the next question is what was the impact? When you did start working with me, we did start providing you services, what did we do for you? Rubber meets the road. What was the impact that our services had on you? And then let them tell you. And then write it down word for word. And the reason why we want to split those two questions up is it's simple. In the United States, 3 out of 4 people are either overweight or obese. We know that, right? That's not a judgment, that's data, right? 3 out of 4 people in the United States are overweight or obese. Well, if 3 out of 4 people are either overweight or obese in the United States, why do 95% of all gyms fail in the United States? Right? It's like when you look at the top 2 ways to lose weight, it's stop putting Cheetos in your mouth, get up off the couch and move around. Right? Those are the 2 ways we know to lose weight: nutrition and exercise. Well, if that's the thing, and 3 out of 4, 3 out of 4 people are overweight or obese, it's an epidemic, then why are 95% of the people that are directly in the pits fighting this epidemic, why are they failing? And when, again, as a strategist, when I go in and do the postmortem, I find out the number one reason is people are running their business like a gym and not running their gym like a business. But many times I find it's because they're speaking to themselves and they are not their ideal client. Their ideal client is their ideal. You are not your ideal client. Your ideal client is your ideal client. And Peter Drucker once said, he's a father of modern business, right? Said the only reason that a business is ever in business is to get and keep a client. That's it. It's the only reason you're in business, right? And so you got to ask yourself, who am I serving and how am I serving and why am I serving? And then the next questions you ask are, what other services would you have liked of us to provide you? What are the top 3 things keeping you up at night? Right? What are the 3 or 4 areas in your life that you just absolutely positively can't continue to operate at the same way that you are now? Asking them questions to get them to explain to you who they are, because I've heard Tony say time and time again, the biggest mistake that a company makes is they fall in love with their product or service and not with their client. You gotta fall in love with your client. You have to understand who that client is at a very deep level. Because if you don't understand who they are, you're throwing darts at a dartboard in a room that's pitch black and you're trying to hit bullseyes.